God said this hour will not reward you, it will reveal you. And this is difficult for the human mind to accept, because the mind is trained to chase reward, not truth. From the moment you wake up, you are conditioned to look for outcomes, applause, results, validation, signs that you are doing well. But revelation does not care about your comfort. Revelation does not negotiate. Revelation simply turns on the light. Tomorrow at 11 p.m. is not a moment designed to give you something new. It is a moment designed to show you what has already been growing inside you, silently, patiently, through every choice you have made when no one was watching. Most people misunderstand critical moments. They think something external must happen. A message, a miracle, a sudden opportunity, a dramatic event. But the most dangerous and powerful moments are internal. They happen when the inner noise drops just enough for you to hear yourself clearly. At 11 p.m., the world will look the same. The room will be the same. Your phone will still be there. Time will still move forward. But inside, something will sharpen. A clarity that cannot be ignored if you are honest. This is why God said it is critical. Because clarity removes excuses, and excuses are what most people survive on. Revelation is uncomfortable because it does not lie. It does not tell you that you are almost there when you are not. It does not soften the truth to protect your feelings. It shows you exactly how disciplined you are, not how disciplined you wish to be. It shows you how serious you are about your life, not how serious you sound when you talk. It shows you whether your prayers are backed by action or contradicted by habit. At this hour, you may suddenly realize how much time you have wasted waiting to feel ready. How many times you promised yourself change tomorrow. How often you knew the right thing and still chose the easy thing. Shi Heng Yi teaches that life is a mirror, and a mirror never insults you. It simply reflects. If you are unprepared, the mirror feels cruel. If you are honest, the mirror becomes your greatest teacher. Tomorrow night, the mirror will be very clean. There will be no fog of distraction if you choose stillness. No excuses from busyness if you choose silence. You will see yourself as you are, not as you present yourself to others, not as you explain yourself to family or friends, but as you truly stand when stripped of roles and stories. This moment will reveal your relationship with discipline. Discipline is not what you do when motivation is high. Discipline is what you do when no one is checking, when there is no deadline, when there is no punishment, when there is no immediate reward. At 11 p.m., you may feel the weight of your neglected potential, not as shame, but as pressure, like something inside you saying, "You know better." That voice is not your enemy. That voice is conscience. That voice is alignment trying to correct your direction before more time is lost. God does not reveal to humiliate you. God reveals to wake you up. But awakening is not gentle. Awakening shakes the structure of the false self. The false self is the version of you built on excuses, comparisons, and delayed responsibility. It survives by staying busy and distracted. It hates silence because silence exposes it. That is why many people feel restless, anxious, or irritated when things become quiet. They are not uncomfortable with silence. They are uncomfortable with what silence reveals. At this hour, you may realize that you have been waiting for permission to become serious. Permission from circumstances, from money, from support, from confidence. But God does not give permission the way humans do. God gives opportunity through awareness. And awareness is given now, not later. Tomorrow night is not asking if you are ready. It is asking if you are willing to see the truth without running. This moment will reveal patterns. Patterns of self-sabotage you call bad luck. Patterns of inconsistency you call being human. Patterns of fear you call being realistic. When the mind is quiet, these patterns become obvious. And once something is obvious, you can no longer pretend you didn't know. That is why revelation is dangerous. Ignorance feels safe. Knowledge creates responsibility. You may also feel grief in this moment. Grief for the time you cannot get back. Grief for the version of yourself you delayed becoming. This grief is not weakness. It is honesty. And honesty is strength. Many people numb this feeling immediately. They scroll, they sleep, they distract themselves. But those who stay with it, those who allow the grief to pass through without escaping, often experience something deeper afterward: resolve. A quiet, grounded determination that does not need motivation to survive. This hour will reveal whether you are living reactively or intentionally. A reactive life is driven by mood, circumstance, and external pressure. An intentional life is driven by values, structure, and inner command. At 11:11 p.m., ask yourself without drama, if my life continues exactly as it is now, where will I be in 1 year? Not where you hope, where your current habits are taking you. The answer may arrive instantly, and it may be uncomfortable. But discomfort now prevents suffering later. God said this moment will not reward you, because rewards can be misunderstood. Rewards can be taken without change. Revelation cannot. Revelation forces a choice. Once you see clearly, you must either align or resist. There is no neutral, and resistance always has a cost, not immediately but gradually. It shows up as frustration, emptiness, resentment, and a quiet sense that you are betraying yourself. At 11:11 p.m., you may notice how often you lie to yourself in small ways. How you minimize what you know you should do. How you exaggerate how hard things are. How you convince yourself that tomorrow will somehow give you what today could not. This is not to judge yourself. It is to see the mechanism clearly. Once you see the mechanism, it loses power. Awareness weakens old patterns more effectively than force ever could. This moment may also reveal your strength. Not the loud strength of achievement, but the quiet strength of endurance. The fact that you are still here, still seeking, still listening, still willing to face yourself instead of numbing out completely. Do not overlook this. Many people never reach this point because they are too busy running. If you feel the weight of this moment, it means you are awake enough to feel it. That itself is a sign. God reveals before He redirects. You cannot change direction if you are unclear about where you stand. Tomorrow night is a checkpoint. Not a judgment, not a punishment, but an assessment. And assessments are only painful when avoided. When faced, they become liberating. Remember this, nothing external needs to change at 11:11 p.m. for everything internal to shift. A single moment of honest self-seeing can reorder priorities, reshape identity, and realign behavior. But only if you stay present. Only if you do not rush to escape the feeling. Only if you allow truth to land fully. This is why God said it is critical. Not because something will happen to you, but because something will be revealed within you. And once revealed, you will no longer be able to say you didn't know. What you do after that moment is your responsibility. But the moment itself is a gift. A sharp, clear mirror placed in front of your life. Stand before it. Do not flinch. Do not argue. Just see. God said silence is the test. And this is where most people fail without ever realizing they were being tested at all. They think tests come with pressure, noise, urgency, visible struggle. But the deepest tests arrive quietly. They arrive when nothing forces you to react, when no one is watching, when there is no immediate consequence for avoiding the moment. Tomorrow at 11:11 p.m., the test is not what you do. The test is whether you can stop doing. Whether you can remain still long enough to hear what has been trying to reach you beneath the constant movement of your life. Silence feels simple, but it is one of the most demanding disciplines known to man. The body can sit, but the mind rebels. The mind is addicted to stimulation. It has been trained to consume, react, judge, compare, plan, regret. When silence arrives, the mind panics, because without noise it loses its illusion of control. This is why so many people say they want peace, but unconsciously avoid the very condition that produces it. Silence removes the background noise that hides inner disorder. At 11:11 p.m., there will be an invitation to stop filling space. No music to control your mood. No phone to escape your thoughts. No conversation to dilute your awareness. Just you and the present moment. This is uncomfortable because in silence, there is nowhere to hide. You cannot distract yourself from your own patterns. You cannot outsource responsibility to circumstances. Everything you have been postponing emotionally, mentally, spiritually begins to surface when the external volume drops. God said silence is the test because silence reveals mastery. Anyone can speak. Anyone can react. Anyone can be busy. But very few can sit without reaching for something. Very few can remain with their breath without needing entertainment. Very few can observe their thoughts without obeying them. This is why silence separates those who are controlled by their minds from those who are learning to command them. Shi Heng Yi teaches that stillness is not weakness. Stillness is strength under control. A restless mind is not powerful, it is scattered. At 11:11 p.m., the challenge is not to achieve calm, but to remain present even when calm does not immediately appear. Many people quit silence too early. They feel discomfort and assume something is wrong. But discomfort is not failure. Discomfort is resistance leaving the body. When you sit in silence, the first thing you will notice is noise. Not external noise, but internal. Thoughts replaying conversations. Regrets resurfacing. Worries projecting into the future. The mind will offer you reasons to stop. It will say this is pointless. It will say you are wasting time. It will say you can do this later. These thoughts are not random. They are defenses. The ego fears silence because silence weakens false identities. If you stay, something important happens. The noise begins to lose intensity. Not because you fight it, but because you stop feeding it. Thoughts without attention lose energy. This is discipline at its highest level. Not force, not suppression, but observation. At this stage, silence becomes a mirror. You begin to see how often you are pulled by impulse, how quickly you react, how rarely you choose consciously. God said, be careful, because this moment comes quietly. That is the danger. Loud warnings are easy to notice. Quiet opportunities are easy to miss. At 11:11 p.m., no one will remind you. No alert will go off inside your soul. You must choose awareness voluntarily. This is why silence is the test. It asks for internal authority, not external pressure. In silence, you may feel emotions rise without clear explanation. Sadness, frustration, fear, even anger. These emotions were always there, but they were covered by noise. Silence does not create them. Silence reveals them. Many people mistake this revelation as something negative and immediately distract themselves again. But emotions are not enemies. Unfelt emotions become weight. Felt emotions become information. As you remain still, you may realize how little space you give yourself to process life. How quickly you move from one thing to the next. How rarely you allow experiences to settle. Silence teaches digestion. Just as the body needs time to digest food, the mind needs time to digest experience. Without silence, life piles up unresolved, creating inner tension that no amount of external success can relieve. God said tomorrow is critical because silence demands honesty. In silence, you cannot pretend you are fine if you are not. You cannot perform strength. You cannot borrow identity from roles, titles, or expectations. You are simply present. This is terrifying for those who do not know who they are without noise, but it is liberating for those ready to meet themselves. Silence also reveals attachment. Notice what you miss when you sit still. Your phone, your music, your stimulation. What you miss reveals what controls you. This is not to shame yourself, but to understand your dependencies. Freedom begins with awareness. You cannot loosen a grip you are unaware you are holding. At 11:11 p.m., silence may feel heavy at first, like pressure in the chest, like restlessness in the body. This is accumulated tension releasing. The body has been carrying unprocessed stress for a long time. When you stop moving, it finally has space to speak. Do not interrupt it. Breathe. Let the sensations move. This is how the nervous system recalibrates. God does not speak in noise. Noise is human. Silence is divine. This does not mean God speaks in words during silence. God speaks in clarity, in knowing without explanation, in understanding without effort. But clarity only arrives when the mind stops shouting over it. Silence lowers the volume of the ego so truth can be heard. This moment tests whether you trust silence enough to stay. Many people claim spiritual interest, but flee the moment things become quiet. They want insight without stillness, growth without discomfort, transformation without discipline. Silence exposes this contradiction gently but firmly. If you endure the silence long enough, you may notice a shift. The body relaxes, the breath deepens. Thoughts slow, there is space between them. In that space, you are no longer being dragged by your mind. You are witnessing it. This is power, quiet power, the kind that does not need to prove itself. God said silence is the test because silence builds authority over the self. A person who can sit with themselves can stand anywhere in the world. They are not easily shaken, not easily provoked, not easily controlled. They respond instead of react. They choose instead of drift. At 11:11 p.m., even 5 minutes of true silence can be enough if it is sincere. This is not about duration. It is about presence. One honest moment of stillness is worth more than hours of distracted activity. In that moment, you reconnect with something steady inside you that is not influenced by external chaos. After silence, you may feel lighter or heavier. Both are normal. Lightness comes from release. Heaviness comes from realization. Both are necessary. Do not judge the experience. Simply acknowledge it. Silence does not always feel peaceful. Sometimes it feels confronting. But confrontation with truth is always the beginning of freedom. God said, do not ignore this quiet moment. Because once you learn to avoid silence, you avoid yourself. And a life avoided inwardly will eventually collapse outwardly. But a life faced inwardly becomes unshakable outwardly. Silence is not empty. Silence is full of insight, full of correction, full of direction. Tomorrow at 11:11 p.m., the question is simple: can you be still without escaping? Can you listen without interrupting? Can you remain present without running? If you can even briefly, the test has already begun to change you. God said decision is more powerful than prayer. And this truth unsettles many people because prayer feels sacred while decision feels ordinary. Prayer is often where people place their hope, their emotion, their desire for rescue. Decision is where responsibility begins. Prayer asks. Decision commits. Prayer speaks to heaven. Decision restructures the earth beneath your feet. Tomorrow at 11 p.m. is critical because it is not a moment for asking again. It is a moment for choosing once, clearly, and without negotiation. Many people pray sincerely but live ambiguously. They ask for change while protecting the habits that prevent it. They ask for strength while avoiding the situations that would build it. They ask for clarity while refusing to remove distractions. Prayer without decision becomes a form of delay, not devotion. God hears prayer, but life responds to decision. This is not punishment, this is law. The direction of your life is determined not by what you hope for, but by what you repeatedly choose. At 11:11 p.m., the power of the moment is that it compresses time. It brings past patterns and future consequences into the present instant. In that instant, you are shown very clearly what continuing as you are will produce. And then you are given a choice, not a dramatic one, a quiet one. Stay the same or change the standard you live by. Decision is not emotion. Decision is structure. It is the line you draw that your future self will be forced to respect. Shi Heng Yi teaches that a weak decision is worse than no decision at all. A weak decision leaves room for negotiation when discomfort appears. It sounds like, I will try, I will start, I will see how it goes. These are not decisions. These are wishes disguised as commitment. At 11:11 p.m., God is not asking for promises. God is asking for a command directed inward. Something so clear that your behavior has no confusion about what is expected. Decision carries weight because it removes excuses before they appear. When a decision is real, you do not debate with yourself every morning. You do not rely on mood. You do not wait for motivation. You move because you have already decided. This is why decision is more powerful than prayer. Prayer can be emotional and still leave you unchanged. Decision feels heavy because it demands alignment immediately. Many people mistake decision for intensity. They think a decision must feel dramatic, passionate, overwhelming. But the strongest decisions are calm, quiet, grounded. They arrive when you see clearly and stop lying to yourself. At 11 p.m. clarity is high. This is why the decision made in this window carries unusual force. You are not choosing from confusion. You are choosing from awareness. God said tomorrow is critical because indecision has already cost you more than you admit. Indecision drains energy daily. Every time you debate whether to do what you already know is necessary, you weaken your authority over yourself. You teach your mind that it does not have to listen. Over time, this creates inner chaos. You know what to do, but you do not trust yourself to do it. Decision restores trust. One firm decision, honored repeatedly, rebuilds self-respect faster than 1,000 affirmations. At this moment, you are not meant to decide everything. You are meant to decide one thing. One behavior you will no longer tolerate. One standard you will no longer lower. One excuse you will no longer accept from yourself. Trying to change everything leads to collapse. Changing one core decision reshapes everything downstream. This is precision. This is discipline. Decision also requires sacrifice. This is why many avoid it. A real decision kills alternative futures. When you decide, you close doors. You accept loss. You accept discomfort. You accept that some versions of you will never exist. This feels frightening, but it is also freeing. Unlimited options create paralysis. Limited, chosen paths create momentum. God said decision outweighs desire because desire is passive. Desire wants comfort alongside change. Decision accepts discomfort as the price of alignment. At 11 p.m., you may feel resistance rise when you approach the decision you know you need to make. This resistance is not a sign to stop. It is confirmation that the decision matters. Easy decisions change nothing. When you decide, you will feel a subtle shift in posture. Not physically, but internally. You stop negotiating. You stop explaining. You stop justifying. You become quieter, but more solid. This solidity is what carries you through moments when motivation disappears. Motivation is unreliable. Discipline born from decision is stable. God does not demand perfection after decision. God demands consistency. You will fail sometimes. You will stumble. But a true decision changes how you respond to failure. You no longer use failure as an excuse to quit. You correct and continue. The path becomes non-negotiable, even if the pace varies. At 11 p.m. decide in private. Do not announce it. Do not seek validation. Spoken decisions often weaken when they rely on external approval. Silent decisions grow stronger because they are rooted inward. Let your behavior announce the change later. Power moves quietly at first. Decision also simplifies life. Many people feel overwhelmed not because they have too much to do, but because they have too many unresolved choices. Once a decision is made, energy frees up, mental noise decreases, focus sharpens. You stop revisiting the same questions daily. This creates momentum almost immediately. God said this moment is critical because once you see clearly and do not decide, the cost doubles. Awareness without action creates inner conflict. Inner conflict eventually becomes self-contempt. But awareness followed by decision creates alignment. Alignment creates peace, even in difficulty. This is not about becoming harsh with yourself. This is about becoming honest. Honest about what you are willing to give up. Honest about what you are no longer willing to live with. Honest about the fact that no one is coming to save you from the consequences of your choices. And that this is not bad news. This is power returned to its rightful place. Decision is an act of self-respect. It says, I take myself seriously enough to act. Many people want their lives to change before they take themselves seriously, but it works in the opposite direction. When you decide, life responds. At 11:11 p.m. when the decision lands, do not rush to feel good about it. Let it feel heavy. Wait means it is real. Carry it calmly. Tomorrow morning, act in accordance with it immediately, even in a small way. This seals the decision into reality. God said decision is more powerful than prayer, because prayer opens the door, but decision walks through it. And tomorrow night, the door will be open. Whether you walk through is entirely up to you. You endured what others escaped, and this is why the word congratulations carries weight here. Not the light, casual congratulations people give for visible success, but the heavy, silent one that is spoken only after unseen battles. Long before any reward appears, life applies pressure. Pressure is not punishment. Pressure is assessment. It tests the structure of your character when no one is watching, when motivation is gone, when comfort is unavailable, when quitting would be understandable and even socially acceptable. Many people confuse endurance with stubbornness, but endurance is something else entirely. Endurance is the ability to stay present without becoming bitter. You stayed, and that staying is what God acknowledges. Think carefully about what you carried. Not just problems, but uncertainty. Not just pain, but waiting. Waiting without deadlines, without guarantees, without signs. Most people can tolerate pain if they know when it will end. Very few can tolerate ambiguity. Very few can wake up day after day not knowing whether their effort will be rewarded, whether their sacrifice will matter, whether their silence will ever be understood. You lived there, in that space where answers did not arrive on time, where prayers felt like echoes, where effort did not immediately translate into outcomes. This is the place where people abandon themselves. This is the place where excuses are born. This is the place where shortcuts look tempting. You did not take them. When others escaped discomfort by distraction, you sat with it. When others numbed themselves, you stayed aware. When others blamed the world, you examined yourself. This is not weakness. This is discipline. This is spiritual strength. In the Shaolin understanding, the body is trained through repetition, but the mind is trained through stillness under pressure. You were trained without realizing it. Every delay carved patience into you. Every rejection carved humility into you. Every misunderstanding carved restraint into you. You did not harden in a destructive way, you condensed. Like carbon becoming diamond, pressure refined you rather than breaking you. There were moments you questioned yourself. Moments you thought, why am I still here? Why am I still trying? Why does it feel like I am the only one carrying this weight? Those questions were not signs of failure. They were signs of consciousness. Only someone awake asks such questions. Someone asleep simply runs. You stayed awake. Even when exhaustion whispered that quitting would bring relief, you did not betray your inner compass. You may have slowed down. You may have doubted. But you did not abandon the path. That matters more than speed. God does not congratulate talent first. Talent is common. God congratulates character. Character is rare. You were shaped in places where applause could not reach you. There were no witnesses to your restraint, your self-control, your refusal to become smaller just to be accepted. There were no celebrations for choosing integrity over convenience. But every one of those choices was recorded internally. And now, before 22 for December, this message arrives not as motivation, but as recognition. Endurance is misunderstood in the modern world. People think endurance means forcing yourself, grinding endlessly, suppressing emotion. True endurance is softer and stronger at the same time. It is the ability to feel pain without letting pain decide your identity. It is the ability to be tired without becoming careless. It is the ability to be alone without becoming desperate. You learned this quietly. You learned how to breathe through difficulty instead of panicking. You learned how to pause instead of reacting. You learned how to observe your thoughts instead of obeying them. These are not small skills. These are foundational skills for a life that carries responsibility. There were days when nothing external changed, but something internal matured. You became less reactive, less hungry for validation, less willing to explain yourself to people who were committed to misunderstanding you. This did not happen overnight. It happened through repetition, through staying when leaving would have been easier, through continuing when stopping would have been justified. God congratulates this kind of loyalty to one's own becoming. You may not feel victorious yet, and that is important. True transitions rarely feel triumphant at the beginning. They feel quiet, almost anticlimactic, like the moment just before dawn, when the darkness has not yet lifted, but night has already lost its power. That is where you are. The congratulations are not for what you have gained, but for what you did not lose: your values, your awareness, your inner alignment. Consider how many versions of you could have emerged from the same circumstances. A bitter one, a resentful one, a cynical one, a numb one, a reckless one. You chose none of these fully. You felt bitterness, but did not live there. You felt resentment, but did not act from it. You felt numbness, but sought presence. This is mastery in progress. Shi Heng Yi teaches that mastery is not domination of others, but governance of self. You governed yourself under pressure. This is why the timing matters. Before 22 for December, a cycle acknowledges itself, not by fireworks, but by understanding. What you endured without context will soon gain meaning, not because someone explains it to you, but because your perspective has expanded enough to hold it. You could not have received certain outcomes earlier without misusing them. You could not have handled certain clarity earlier without arrogance. Endurance prepared your nervous system, your mind, your spirit. You were not being delayed. You were being conditioned. Muscles grow in resistance, not in comfort. The same is true for the inner life. You were strengthened in ways that are invisible but permanent. This is why God says congratulations now, not later. Because the hardest part was not the external struggle. The hardest part was staying internally intact while walking through it. If you feel tired, that is natural. Endurance does not mean you are untouched. It means you are still standing. Rest does not invalidate strength, it completes it. Do not interpret fatigue as failure. Fatigue is often the sign that a long climb is nearing a plateau. You do not need to push harder right now. You need to stand with awareness and allow the transition to occur. This message is not telling you that life will suddenly become effortless. It is telling you that your capacity has increased. What once overwhelmed you will soon feel manageable. What once confused you will soon feel obvious. What once hurt you will soon feel distant. Not because the world changed, but because you did. So accept the congratulations without pride and without disbelief. Accept them calmly. Let them land where they belong, not in the ego, but in the spine. Stand a little straighter knowing you did not quit on yourself. Breathe a little deeper, knowing you survived without becoming less human. Walk forward knowing that endurance has already proven something important. You can be trusted with what comes next. God congratulates those who endure not because endurance is glamorous, but because it is sacred. You stayed. That is enough. Something in you has already changed, even if you cannot fully name it yet. This is why the message speaks of congratulations and not instruction. Instruction is given when someone is unformed. Recognition is given when a shift has already occurred. Your inner posture has changed, and posture is not about how you stand in the world, but how you meet it internally. Before, you may have leaned forward, chasing outcomes, chasing approval, chasing clarity. Now, there is more verticality inside you. You are less bent by urgency. You are less pulled apart by other people's expectations. This is not indifference. This is balance. In Shaolin practice, posture is corrected before movement is perfected. If the spine is collapsed, strength leaks. If the stance is unstable, power is wasted. Life works the same way. For a long time, you were trying to move forward while your inner posture was still adjusting. That created exhaustion. Not because you were weak, but because energy was escaping through misalignment. Recently, quietly, that alignment began to settle. You stopped forcing outcomes that were not ready. You stopped arguing with reality. You began to listen more than you spoke, observe more than you reacted. This is a profound shift, even if it feels subtle. God notices inner changes before external results appear. The world reacts slowly, but truth responds instantly. When your posture changes, life reorganizes around you. Not dramatically at first, but inevitably. You may have noticed that certain conflicts no longer hook you the way they used to. Words that once disturbed you now pass through without staying. Situations that once triggered anxiety now produce contemplation instead. This is not emotional shutdown. This is regulation. You are no longer ruled by every thought that appears. You are learning to stand behind them. This is why congratulations are offered. Because most people try to change their circumstances without changing their stance. They want different results while holding the same internal tension. You released something. Perhaps control, perhaps desperation, perhaps the need to be seen. That release created space. And in that space, clarity began to breathe. You are less noisy inside, less crowded, less pulled in opposite directions. From the outside, this may look like nothing. From the inside, it is everything. Your breathing may have changed, not consciously, but rhythmically. When posture aligns, breath deepens naturally. You no longer hold your breath waiting for the next problem. You exhale more fully. This is the body registering safety after a long period of vigilance. For a long time, you were braced for impact, ready for disappointment, prepared for loss. That state served you during survival, but it cannot serve you during growth. Growth requires openness. Your system is learning this now. Shi Heng Yi speaks often about inner structure. Without it, force collapses inward. With it, even small movements carry weight. You are entering that phase where you do not need to prove yourself through effort. Your presence alone begins to communicate stability. You speak less, but when you do, there is more precision. You act less impulsively, but with more effectiveness. This is not passivity. This is efficiency. When posture is correct, wasted motion disappears. There may be moments when you feel strangely detached from outcomes you once obsessed over. Do not mistake this for loss of ambition. This is maturation. Ambition without attachment is power. You still care, but you are no longer consumed. You still desire progress, but you are no longer frantic. This allows timing to work in your favor. Things meet you halfway now because you are no longer chasing them out of imbalance. God said congratulations because this shift cannot be faked. External behavior can be copied. Inner posture cannot. It only changes through experience, through reflection, through repeated choice. You earned this stability. It came from choosing restraint when reaction was easier, from choosing silence when argument was tempting, from choosing patience when escape was available. Each choice straightened you internally. This new posture also brings discernment. You are more selective now, about where you invest energy, about who you listen to, about which battles deserve your attention. This is not arrogance. This is respect for your own life force. You learned, perhaps painfully, that not everything deserves a response. Some things are resolved by non-engagement. Some doors close not because you failed, but because you no longer fit through them. There is also a quiet confidence emerging. Not the loud kind that announces itself, but the grounded kind that does not need confirmation. You trust yourself more. Not because you have all the answers, but because you have survived not having them. That trust changes how you walk into uncertainty. You no longer collapse under it. You stand upright within it. This is the posture God acknowledges. Expect the world to test this alignment, not as punishment, but as verification. Small challenges may appear, inviting old reactions. Notice how different your responses are now. You pause. You breathe. You choose. This is evidence of integration. Do not rush to label this phase. Simply inhabit it. Let the spine stay tall. Let the breath stay deep. Let the mind stay spacious. Before 22 December, this inner shift marks a threshold. Not into ease, but into coherence. When inner posture and outer movement align, life feels less fragmented. You are no longer pulled in multiple directions. You move as one. And when you move as one, even obstacles contribute to momentum. God said congratulations, because you can now be trusted with more clarity, more responsibility, more influence. Power given to a misaligned posture corrupts. Power given to a stable posture serves. You are becoming stable, quietly, firmly, irreversibly. Stand there. Do not rush ahead. Let the alignment settle fully. From here, movement will be natural. Something is ending, and endings often arrive without ceremony. They do not always announce themselves with dramatic events or clear statements. Sometimes they arrive as a feeling of exhaustion with what once felt familiar, a subtle resistance to continuing in the same direction, a quiet knowing that repeating the old pattern would now cost you more than it gives. God said congratulations, because you are standing at the edge of a closing cycle, and you are conscious enough to feel it. Many people rush past endings and carry unfinished seasons into new chapters. You are being allowed to put something down properly. A cycle does not close because it failed. It closes because it fulfilled its purpose. For a long time, this phase of your life taught you endurance, humility, and awareness. It exposed your attachments, your fears, your illusions, and your strengths. It showed you what you can survive, what you cannot tolerate anymore, and what no longer aligns with who you are becoming. To remain in it now would not be loyalty, it would be stagnation. This is why discomfort appears before closure. Discomfort is the body and spirit saying, this no longer fits. You may feel grief without a clear object. That is normal. When cycles end, we do not only release external things like people, places, or routines. We release identities. Versions of ourselves that were necessary at the time, but are now too small. There is sadness in that, even when growth is happening. Do not rush to label that sadness as negativity. It is respect. It honors what carried you this far. But respect does not mean clinging. It means acknowledging and letting go. Before 22nd of December, something that once consumed emotional energy will begin to loosen its grip. Not through force, but through clarity. You will see more clearly what was draining you. You will understand why certain doors remained closed. You will recognize why certain relationships, goals, or struggles could not move forward with you. This understanding may not come as a sudden revelation. It may come as calm acceptance. That calm is the sign of closure. In Shaolin philosophy, attachment is not judged as good or bad. It is observed. When attachment outlives its usefulness, it becomes a burden. You carried some burdens longer than necessary out of responsibility, hope, or fear of loss. God does not punish you for that. God congratulates you for recognizing when it is time to release. Releasing does not erase the past. It integrates it. There may be moments when you are tempted to return to what is ending, simply because it is familiar. Familiar pain can feel safer than unfamiliar freedom. But notice how your body responds to the thought of going back. There is tightness there, a contraction. Your system already knows the answer. Trust that intelligence. You are not being pulled away from something good. You are being guided towards something more suitable for who you are now. Endings often feel like emptiness at first. When something leaves, space appears. Space can feel unsettling if you are used to constant noise or struggle. But space is where new structure forms. Do not rush to fill it. Let the silence speak. Let the absence teach you what presence will soon bring. This is a sacred pause, not a void. God said congratulations because you did not cling blindly. You allowed awareness to mature. You allowed honesty to surface. You allowed yourself to admit, perhaps for the first time, that something was over. That admission takes courage. It is easier to stay busy than to face transition. You faced it. As this cycle closes, you may notice your energy returning in small ways. Motivation that was missing begins to flicker. Curiosity reappears. Rest feels deeper. These are signs of life reorganizing. When an old chapter ends, the nervous system recalibrates. It no longer has to defend, justify, or endure the same patterns. Relief follows, even if mixed with uncertainty. Do not expect immediate replacement. Closure does not mean instant reward. It means readiness. You are being prepared to receive without carrying old weight into the new. This is why timing matters. Before 22nd of December, the recognition of closure allows you to enter the next phase lighter, clearer, more honest. If there is something you need to forgive, yourself or others, this is the moment. Forgiveness is not moral superiority, it is logistical necessity. You cannot carry resentment into a new cycle without contaminating it. Let go not because they deserve it, but because you do. Forgiveness is how cycles seal cleanly. Remember, the end of a season is not the end of momentum. It is a change in direction. Rivers do not stop when they turn. They flow more intelligently. You are not losing ground. You are redirecting force. God said congratulations, because you are aware enough to close a door without slamming it, without begging it to reopen, without pretending it never mattered. That maturity is rare. Stand still for a moment. Feel what is leaving. Thank it silently. Then step forward without dragging it behind you. What is ending cannot follow you, and what is coming cannot meet you until you let it go. The final keynote is not about revelation or recognition. It is about movement. God said congratulations because you are being trusted now, not just with understanding, not just with endurance, not just with clarity, but with momentum. Momentum that must be carried quietly, without announcement, without validation, without the noise of external approval. Most people mistake movement for visibility. They believe that progress must be seen, recorded, documented, or praised. That is not how true power works. True power moves silently, like a river under ice, like the roots growing deep before the tree blooms. You are entering that stage now. This message is meant to remind you that timing matters. Before 22nd of December, you are being given the capacity to act without explanation. You will notice that certain actions no longer require justification. Certain decisions no longer require permission. Certain paths no longer require anyone's approval. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. Shi Heng Yi teaches that when the internal posture is correct, when the spine is upright and the mind is centered, action becomes effortless, precise, inevitable. You do not need to prove your steps. You only need to take them. Silence is a tool. Observation is a weapon. When you walk quietly, unseen currents respond. When you speak minimally, your words carry weight. This is a principle often missed in modern life. The world responds to discipline before it responds to effort. You may have noticed that the most impactful people in history were not always the loudest, but the most consistent, the most poised, the most measured. Their presence announced itself without noise. That is the posture you are being called to inhabit now. God's congratulations are a form of trust. You are being entrusted with action that does not seek applause. You are being entrusted with initiative that does not crave recognition. Many people stumble at this stage because they feel the need to prove their growth to others. Do not do this. Movement done for validation is diluted. Movement done for alignment is unstoppable. You are being reminded to act for the sake of progress itself, not for attention, not for comparison, not for competition. At the same time, movement is not chaos. It is not reaction. It is deliberate. You are being called to move with awareness, to discern which battles are yours, which opportunities deserve your energy, which directions require patience, and which demand immediacy. Your discernment is sharper now because you have already passed through testing. You have endured what others escaped. You have cultivated inner posture. You have let go of cycles that no longer serve you. Each of these prepares you for movement that is not frantic, not reactive, not scattered, but aligned, efficient, inevitable. Expect resistance, expect obstacles. But notice how differently you meet them now. In the past, you might have been pulled off course by minor provocations, by delay, by criticism. Now you encounter resistance with observation first, then action if required. Your movements are not determined by external pressures, but by internal clarity. This is why silence, patience, and subtlety are not weaknesses, they are power. The world may not notice your progress immediately. Do not mistake this for failure. True shifts are often invisible until they manifest in results that cannot be ignored. Momentum is like gravity. It acts continuously even when unseen. Your growth, your alignment, your preparation are forces accumulating quietly. When the moment arrives, the effect will be undeniable. You will not have to announce it. The world will respond. That is why God emphasizes movement without announcement. This stage also requires protection. Guard your energy. Avoid those who demand your presence without giving anything in return. Avoid engagements that scatter your force. Avoid words, even compliments, that distract you from disciplined action. Momentum grows when force is concentrated, not fragmented. You are being trained to channel your energy with precision. Every thought, every step, every choice counts more than ever. Misalignment now can cost more than it did before. Before 22 for December, understand this: God's congratulations are not a final reward. They are a sign of readiness. You have been prepared to act with power that is subtle but undeniable. Your internal posture, endurance, and clarity have brought you to a point where movement becomes natural. But movement must be quiet. Movement must be strategic. Movement must be aligned with purpose rather than desire, with intention rather than emotion. The more silent, the more potent. The less announced, the more unstoppable. Do not underestimate the importance of this stage. Many people fail not because they lack opportunity, but because they cannot act without applause. They cannot walk their path without spectators. You are being reminded that true power is embodied, not displayed. Act now in alignment, and the consequences will ripple outward beyond your expectations. Act quietly, and you will achieve more than any loud effort could ever accomplish. Stand tall. Breathe deeply. Move deliberately. Allow the force of preparation to manifest naturally. Do not explain yourself. Do not seek permission. Do not announce your steps. Every quiet action now builds momentum for a future that is inevitable, unstoppable, and aligned with the purpose that has carried you this far. God said congratulations because you are ready. Ready to act, ready to advance, ready to embody power without seeking validation, and to let your path unfold exactly as it is meant to. This is your moment of silent movement. Step forward with clarity, discipline, and quiet confidence. The next phase of your life will honor it. If you are seeing this on January 2026, understand this clearly: you did not arrive here by accident. 1 full year has passed since the last turning point. A year where intention was tested, not imagined. A year where words meant nothing without action. God does not congratulate you for reaching 2026 because time passed. God congratulates you because you endured the consequences of your choices, and you are still standing with awareness. January 2026 is not a beginning in the innocent sense. It is a continuation under observation. You are no longer new to discipline. You are no longer unaware of your weaknesses. You now know what happens when you delay, when you distract yourself, when you negotiate with comfort. This year does not excuse ignorance. It demands accountability. If God says congratulations on this day, it is because you survived a year that was meant to expose you. Expose your habits. Expose your excuses. Expose whether you actually respect your own life. Some people collapsed under that exposure. Some numbed themselves. Some returned to old identities. You did not disappear. Even if you struggled, even if you failed at times, you stayed conscious enough to continue. That is why you are here. January 2026 is not asking who you want to become. That question was for beginners. This year asks who you have proven yourself to be when motivation was gone. It asks whether your discipline existed only in speech or in repetition. It asks whether you learned from pain or repeated it. This is a higher level of evaluation. God's congratulations now carry more weight than before, because survival with awareness turns into responsibility. You can no longer blame circumstances. You can no longer wait for clarity. You already know what must be done. The only remaining question is whether you will act with precision or drift again under a new label. January 2026 demands a different kind of seriousness than any beginning you have faced before. Because this is no longer the year of realization, it is the year of proof. The second keynote for this moment is uncompromising. A new year at this level does not ask for hope, it demands a higher standard. By now, you already know that motivation is unreliable. You already know that excitement fades. You already know that saying you want change means nothing if your daily behavior remains the same. January 2026 does not entertain illusions. It exposes them. A standard is not what you say when you feel inspired. A standard is what you do when nothing inside you wants to cooperate. This year is not impressed by words, affirmations, or emotional promises. It only responds to structure. Structure in how you wake up. Structure in how you train your body. Structure in how you guard your attention. Structure in how you recover when you fall off. God's congratulations at the start of 2026 are quiet because they are conditional. They acknowledge that you know better now, and knowing better removes excuses. You are no longer allowed the comfort of saying, "I didn't know." You know exactly how distractions ruin your momentum. You know how inconsistency weakens your confidence. You know how waiting for the perfect moment delays your life. This knowledge is heavy because it means responsibility is fully yours. January 2026 is the year where standards stop being inspirational ideas and become non-negotiable rules you live by. If you do not set them consciously, life will set them for you through consequences. The dangerous thing about reaching this stage is that the ego starts bargaining. It says, "I've already improved," or "I've been through a lot," or "I deserve some ease now." These thoughts sound reasonable, but they are subtle invitations to lower your standard. The warrior does not negotiate with weakness, especially not weakness disguised as self-compassion. True self-respect is not indulgence. It is consistency. It is doing what must be done, even when no one will ever applaud it. A higher standard means your days become predictable in discipline, not chaotic in emotion. You wake up at a fixed time not because it feels good, but because it aligns your nervous system with order. You move your body not because you want results immediately, but because physical neglect always leads to mental instability. You control your input not because the world is evil, but because attention is finite and must be guarded. The January 2026 asks you to live as if your energy is sacred, because it is. Standards reveal themselves most clearly in small decisions. What you do in the first hour of the day. How quickly you reach for distraction. Whether you finish what you start. Whether you keep promises to yourself. These things seem minor, but they compound into identity. By now, you should understand that confidence does not come from achievement. It comes from self-trust. Self-trust is built when your actions repeatedly match your intentions. Without standards, this alignment never happens. God's congratulations in 2026 are not a reward. They are a warning wrapped in acknowledgement. A warning that the time for casual living is over. That drifting is no longer harmless. That comfort now has a higher cost. When awareness increases, the consequences of ignoring it become heavier. This is why some people feel more pain after growth, not less. It is not punishment. It is feedback becoming sharper. A disciplined standard also means learning how to recover without drama. You will still fail. You will still miss days. You will still struggle. The difference now is that failure no longer becomes an identity. It becomes information. You correct quickly. You return to structure immediately. You do not spiral. You do not narrate your struggle endlessly. You act. This ability to return fast is one of the highest standards a warrior can develop. It separates maturity from emotional intensity. January 2026 also requires you to become ruthless with time. Not aggressive, but precise. You no longer confuse being busy with being effective. You no longer allow endless preparation to replace execution. You understand that most progress is boring repetition done consistently over time. This understanding changes how you move. You stop chasing breakthroughs and start respecting fundamentals. Sleep, training, silence, work, reflection. These are not glamorous, but they are powerful. A higher standard will isolate you at times. Not because you are better than others, but because fewer people are willing to live this way. When you stop complaining, when you stop indulging excuses, when you stop feeding chaos, you become quieter. Some will misunderstand this silence. Let them. Alignment matters more than approval. January 2026 is not the year to explain yourself. It is the year to demonstrate through behavior. There is also a spiritual weight to this standard. Discipline is not separate from faith. Discipline is faith in action. To show up every day without emotional reward is to trust that the process itself has meaning. God's congratulations at this stage acknowledge that you are capable of living without constant reassurance. That you can walk forward without needing signs at every step. This is maturity. The mind will still resist structure. It will try to convince you that rigidity kills creativity, that strictness removes joy. But the opposite is true. Structure creates freedom because it removes decision fatigue. When standards are clear, you do not debate with yourself all day. You act. This clarity frees mental space. It allows depth. It allows presence. January 2026 invites you into this deeper state of living. A true standard also includes how you speak to yourself. No more dramatic self-hatred. No more inflated self-praise. Just honest assessment and correction. Emotional extremes weaken discipline. Calm evaluation strengthens it. The warrior does not insult himself after failure, nor does he celebrate prematurely after small wins. He stays centered. This emotional regulation is part of the standard now. By this point, you should understand that life does not become easier with discipline, but it becomes simpler. Fewer regrets, fewer chaotic cycles, fewer moments of self-disappointment. January 2026 offers you this simplicity if you are willing to pay its price daily. The price is effort without mood, action without applause, commitment without certainty. God said congratulations because you reached a level where this is possible. But reaching is not the same as living it. The year ahead will not test your intelligence. It will test your consistency. It will not ask how much you know. It will ask how often you do what you already know is necessary. So let January 2026 be the year your standards become visible through your life, not your words. Let your discipline speak quietly every morning. Let your structure protect you from your own weaknesses. Let your consistency become your prayer. This is what it means to honor the congratulations you were given. By the time January 2026 arrives, the third keynote becomes unavoidable. You cannot enter this year carrying the same identity that survived the last one. Survival was enough before. Now it is not. What is being asked of you at this stage is not effort, but release, not ambition, but surrender of what no longer belongs to you. God's congratulations in January 2026 are heavier than before because they assume something important. You already know what must be let go. The question is no longer awareness. The question is courage. Every year shapes a version of you. That version is built to handle specific conditions. The problem is that most people grow attached to versions that were only meant to be temporary. You learned certain behaviors to protect yourself. You developed certain habits to cope. You adopted certain beliefs to survive uncertainty. They were useful once, but usefulness has an expiration date. When conditions change, clinging to old tools becomes self-sabotage. January 2026 marks the moment where what once protected you now limits you. Letting go feels threatening because identity feels like safety. The mind would rather suffer predictably than risk uncertainty. This is why people repeat cycles even when those cycles hurt them. Familiar pain feels controllable. Unknown growth feels dangerous. The warrior understands this and still chooses growth, not because it feels good, but because stagnation eventually destroys what survival preserved. God does not congratulate stagnation. God congratulates readiness for transformation. The third keynote asks you to confront the identities you keep rehearsing. The stories you tell yourself about who you are. The labels you repeat when things get difficult. This is just how I am. I work better under pressure. I've always been like this. These statements sound honest, but they are prisons. They remove responsibility by turning behavior into destiny. In January 2026, these excuses no longer work. You have too much evidence. You have seen yourself change before. That means you are not fixed. You are trained. Transformation begins the moment you stop defending your old self. Defense keeps identity alive. Justification strengthens patterns. Every time you explain why you are the way you are, you reinforce it. Letting go requires silence. It requires not explaining yourself to others. It requires not narrating your struggle excessively. Action replaces explanation. Behavior replaces identity. This is uncomfortable because it removes sympathy, but it creates strength. There is also loss involved in letting go. Loss of comfort, loss of familiarity, sometimes loss of people. Some relationships are built around who you were when you were undisciplined, distracted, or emotionally reactive. When you change, those connections feel strained. This is not betrayal, it is alignment. You cannot live a disciplined life and maintain bonds that constantly pull you back into old patterns. This separation feels lonely at first, but loneliness is not emptiness. It is space, space to hear yourself again. January 2026 requires you to stop romanticizing your past struggles. Pain taught you, but pain does not need to stay. Many people unconsciously keep their wounds alive because the wounds give them identity. They introduce themselves through what hurt them. They explain their limitations through past experiences. But pain is not a credential. It is an experience. Holding on to it beyond its lesson delays your future. Letting go means honoring what you learned without continuing to bleed. This keynote also demands release of emotional habits, overthinking, self-criticism, emotional swings. These are not personality traits. They are trained responses. Anything trained can be retrained, but only if you stop claiming it as who you are. January 2026 is not kind to emotional chaos. It exposes it quickly. The more aware you become, the more costly emotional reactivity becomes. Discipline at this stage is emotional regulation, not suppression. You feel, but you do not obey every feeling. There is a dangerous moment during transformation where you feel empty. The old identity is fading, but the new one is not yet solid. This emptiness scares people. They rush to fill it with distractions, noise, relationships, or old habits. The warrior does not do this. He allows emptiness to exist, because emptiness is not absence. It is preparation. It is where clarity forms. It is where new standards root themselves. January 2026 invites you to tolerate this space without panic. God's congratulations at this level acknowledge that you are strong enough to exist without a fixed label, that you can act without fully knowing who you are becoming. This is rare strength. Most people need to define themselves loudly because they are afraid of uncertainty. The disciplined person moves quietly, letting identity emerge through consistent behavior. You do not announce change. You demonstrate it over time. Another part of letting go is releasing the need for validation. In earlier stages, encouragement matters. In maturity, Reliance on encouragement becomes weakness. January 2026 is not the year to seek applause for discipline. Discipline does not need witnesses. The more you seek recognition, the more fragile your consistency becomes. When validation disappears, so does effort. Letting go of validation creates independence. Independence creates stability. You must also let go of the fantasy timeline, the imagined version of how fast things should have happened. That fantasy creates frustration and pressure. Pressure leads to shortcuts. Shortcuts lead back to old patterns. The warrior respects time. He works daily without arguing with reality. January 2026 is not asking you to be further. It is asking you to be aligned. Alignment compounds faster than impatience ever will. Stress will test whether you truly let go. Stress always reveals default identity. If you have not consciously released the old self, it will return under pressure. This is why this work must be done now, in calm moments. Letting go is a discipline practiced before chaos arrives. When life becomes difficult again, and it will, you will not have time to decide who you are. You will act from what you have trained. So understand the seriousness of this keynote. It is not poetic. It is practical. Something in you must end so something stronger can continue. Not because you were wrong before, but because you have outgrown that version. Keeping it would be disrespectful to the effort you already made. January 2026 is not asking you to become someone new overnight. It is asking you to stop carrying what you no longer need. Less emotional baggage, fewer excuses, fewer explanations, more presence, more precision, more restraint. God said congratulations, because you are ready for this release. Whether you actually let go will determine the weight of the year ahead. As this message comes to an end, understand that endings are never about words. They are about decisions. What you have heard is not meant to inspire you for a moment and then fade. It is meant to settle inside you quietly and change how you move when no one is watching. If God said congratulations for bringing you to January 2026, it was not to make you feel special. It was to remind you that you are still responsible. You have reached a point where you can no longer pretend you do not know. You know the cost of distraction. You know the weight of wasted time. You know how painful it is to live out of alignment with your own standards. This knowledge is now your burden and your power. From this point forward, every excuse will feel heavier and every disciplined action will feel lighter. This is not punishment. This is maturity. Do not rush to prove anything after this moment. Do not announce change. Do not chase validation. Let your silence become your strength. Let your mornings become your discipline. Let your consistency become your identity. The world does not need to hear what you plan to do. It will see what you repeatedly do. There will be days in this year when motivation disappears completely. On those days, remember this moment. Remember that you were not congratulated for potential, but for endurance. Stand up anyway. Move anyway. Act according to your standard, not your mood. This is how warriors are formed, through action taken without emotional reward. If you fall, return quickly. Do not dramatize failure. Do not punish yourself. Correct and continue. Discipline is not about perfection. It is about loyalty to your path. Stay loyal even when progress feels invisible. Especially then, January 2026 will not be kind to those who drift, but it will be powerful for those who stay aligned. You do not need to be extraordinary. You need to be consistent. You do not need to know the entire road. You need to take the next disciplined step. So carry this forward quietly. Guard your attention. Respect your time. Honor your energy. Let each day be a small confirmation that the congratulations you received were deserved. Walk forward with calm strength. Live with intention. And let your discipline speak when words no longer matter.